Learning how to trade after hours changed my life forever. I'm Jason. I'm a futures trader. I'm a trading coach, a professional orchestral percussionist, and a dad, which means I've never had the luxury of staring at screens all day, every day. And in this video, I'll show you how trading after hours reshaped and even saved my trading career, which futures markets actually make sense for trading outside regular hours, and how you can use this approach to trade profitably even if you have a full schedule like me or live in a difficult trading time zone. So let's first talk about schedules, because I'm asked the same kind of questions from all of my coaching clients. And it usually sounds something like this. Can I trade with a full-time job? What if I live in Europe? What if I'm in Asia? Can I please like and subscribe to your channel? Yeah, you can. And one of the biggest advantages of futures trading is that the market only closes for 1 hour a day. That's from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. So it's open 23 hours a day and basically always available. And that leads to the much more important question. And it's not, can you trade with your schedule? It's, do you have the mental makeup to trade consistently within your schedule? And that's where most traders struggle. Now, early on in my career, I made the same mistake constantly. Over and over and over again, I would force trades simply because I was finally in front of the charts and I felt like I deserved an opportunity because my schedule finally allowed for it. But I want you to hear me on this. Pay attention. The market, it gives zero poops about your schedule. It just doesn't care. It's not going to reward your availability. It's going to reward your discipline. And that's what I had to prove to myself. It's not whether I could trade after hours, it's whether I could trade consistently with an inconsistent schedule. So instead of worrying about whether you can trade futures with your schedule or time zone, because you can, focus on whether you're developing the discipline to separate good trades from the real temptation of FOMO trades, because based on your schedule, you will miss trades. You will miss opportunities. It's just going to happen. But once I learned how to trade effectively after hours, everything changed for me because FOMO became less of a thing. I knew there would be opportunities outside of normal hours. My trading style and system evolved to account for overnight market behavior, and my feel for the market improved immensely because I widened my perspective to a 23-hour approach rather than just a strictly 9:30 to 4 p.m. So it essentially made me a better trader overall. So how do we do this? Well, next I'm going to show you two things. First, which markets logically make sense to trade overnight from a market behavior perspective. And second, how to analyze the major US session markets that move a lot during intraday hours, like the ES, gold, oil, all the major ones, in a way that sets you up for successful overnight execution, because it's just a little bit different. Now, please keep in mind that the ideas presented in this video, I'm describing market structure, price behavior as I see it, certainly not trade instructions or any call to action of any kind. So let's talk about how to choose the right markets to trade overnight. Here's my simple logic. Markets that move consistently are easier to trade. News moves the markets, so we want markets that react to news during overnight hours. And that's why currencies are an important part of my trading system. I trade the Aussie dollar, the euro, the British pound, the yen. Those are just what I focus on, but there are others available as well. And these markets continue to move well during Asian and European sessions when US traders are usually asleep. And here's something else about currencies. They tend to trend well. They move at a relatively slower pace too, and they move level to level, stepwise. Not always, but often enough to build a repeatable approach around. So my advice with currencies is simple. Learn their behavior, mark key levels on your 60-minute chart, which we're about to get to, and watch how consistently price respects those areas that you're watching. That's where the opportunities are going to show up. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, what about the ES? What about gold? What about oil? How do I not miss out on those if you're not trading during regular hours? Well, don't worry, I got you. If you're trading markets that move most during regular US hours, your preparation for the overnight session just becomes a bit more specific. Your overall approach isn't going to change, but your analysis gives a bit more weight to a few specific data points. And these are the three things you need to be tracking. And each one of these things can be found on my free futures trading checklist. I use it every day for things just like this. And I've made it available to you for free. Just click on the link in the description below. First thing we're going to look at, where is price relative to yesterday's high and low? Second, are we approaching any key 60-minute levels? And third, how many consecutive daily bars have closed above or below the 5 SMA? Now let's go over why those matter, and we'll start with the previous intraday high and low. Price often gravitates towards those levels. So if price opens below the low or above the high, you can expect a test of those levels, at least an attempt to get back there, which can give you a short-term directional bias. Now let's go to the 60-minute levels. This is your chart that's going to be acting as support and resistance. And when price interacts with those levels, they can give you strong entry points. And as far as the daily bars go, when you see 7 consecutive consecutive daily closes above or below the 5 SMA, that's officially a strong trend environment. We've talked about that here before. This again provides a short-term directional bias. So think of it this way. It's like an after-hours sandwich. Your previous day's high and low and daily trend context are the bread, and then the 60-minute levels are the meat or whatever you put in your sandwiches. Now, context gives you the direction, levels gives you the location with which you might be entering and exiting. And when you're placing trades like I do that might trigger while you're sleeping, you definitely need to have a decisive handle on those. Now, here are some recent examples of actual trades I've taken after hours, and you can see what this looks like. So let's get to that. All right, let's go over some of these trades that I took the other day, 3 basically over the same night. So let's find some of these. Let's see here, copper, February 12th. Yeah, right here. So we had this level, this orange line. These are levels of resistance that I expected, price to bounce off. So this was at 11:18 p.m. Eastern time. Got short at 5846 right there. That was my entry. And this actually filled pretty quickly. I think my targets were 30 and 45 ticks. So like right there. There's one target. This happened, let's see here, within like 45 minutes, I believe. Yeah, nice and quick. Right there. Okay. So my stop was 15 ticks. Copper's expensive, so I keep my stop fairly small for that market. But yeah, looks like I got short at 5846, exit at 5801. Yeah, right there is my last one. So there you go. 2 targets, 30 ticks and 45 ticks off of this resistance. Now, all right, so what I did here, this structure was put in at 11:20-ish. It looks like 11:21 a.m. On the 12th. Market closed down here at 4, whatever. And the market opened right around there. My entry was waiting then. After the market opened, I put my entry in up here, that yellow line here. That's where and I just let it sit and I left, So it filled, and it did, and then it hit my targets. Now this is all happened while I was away from the computer. Okay, so that's one of the bounces. I did 3 different kind of bounce trades like this where I just left my entry to see if it was going to be filled or not. All right, let's go find the ES trade. This happened on the February 13th. There it is. All right, so this is the level I was looking at to get long at. All right, so here's the level on the ES. This was put in on the 6th of February. Okay, see this orange line? I'm just going to make all these orange for now. That's going to denote a bounce level for the purposes of this video. Okay, so this was put in on the 6th. I'm going to make this visible on our 60-minute chart as well, so you can see where this is. Okay, here's the 60-minute chart, and this orange line down here, right there, that was the level that I just marked. And that bounce happened right here on the 13th overnight. So let's go look at what that looks like on the tick chart, because many, many days later, that's why these levels are important. And look, it bounced right there. My entry is right there, 2825. And that happened, that filled at about 1:40 a.m. Eastern time. So again, another overnight bounce. I just let my entry stay there. Market closed up here. You can see market closed there, reopened at about the same spot, and then put my entry in and just let it sit. This one definitely filled pretty quickly here. Let's see here. That was my first target. I think this happened within 15 minutes or so. And then I think it just barely got my second target before. Yeah. So this all, again, happened overnight. These are my targets up here. You can see white lines are my targets, and that's what it looks like. So I just left my entry there. So that's 2 in one night, 2 bounces in one night, 2 wins where I was not in front of the computer at all. And there's yet another one that same evening. So let's go find that one. That one's in oil. See here, February 13th again, 62.28. Where you at? February 13th again, same night, 6228. Oh, this is a different contract. The contract rolled over, friends. So this is going to look different because we're on a different contract than we were. It rolled over to the April, which is fine. So it's about
a few moments later.
Okay, I found the one on oil. So the contract has rolled over since this. So this trade happened on February 13th. It is now February 21st. We just rolled over to the April contract. So the prices are different than what is on my log. Took me a minute to find it. I marked the 60-minute level. It's the blue line that you see with the dots on it now, right here. All right, so this was a line that I was expecting a bounce of, and that's what I took right here. Okay, so on the tick chart, that's exactly what it looks like here. You can see how these levels, if you pick them right, it just bounces right off. It's just like right Boom. Doesn't test your stop all that much. It just does what it does. And so this was at 6:45 in the morning. So not necessarily overnight, but I was not in front of the charts yet. So yeah, happened at 6:45. Oil, the market opened, let's see here. When the market opened, it had gone, I had only gotten 2-to-1. So that was my first target, which is right here. So this was actually finished out during the day. The rest of the trade played out during intraday hours. So my first target hit here. So I woke up to this trade in progress. First target filled at 8:19. I was definitely in front of the charts then. And then you can see it almost, when I hit my first target here, I always go automatically to break even. So my stop was at this yellow line, green line, and it came back and almost stopped me out right there, and then eventually went to my second target, which was right there at 1 o'clock. So that was a day-long trade that filled overnight, right? So this is another example of an overnight entry that I just had sitting there waiting for me, bounced successfully in the early morning hours of the next day, and then kind of continued to move about until it filled in the afternoon. So this was an overnight fill with the resolution of the trade the next day. So 3 different trades, one in copper, a bounce short at 11:40 p.m., a bounce long on the ES, and that happened at about 1:30, 1:40 a.m., and then a bounce long on oil at about 6:45 a.m. So all of these entries were left overnight and filled at some point during that time while I was not even in front of the charts. So that is, you can see the importance of picking these levels and making sure you know why you're picking them and the bias you have, which direction you're trying to trade and all that. So these are the 60-minute levels of support and resistance that I was talking about, why it's so important. This is that oil one, bounced right off that 60-minute level, this swing right here, right? That's what I felt was important, kind of a big force pivot. And you can see when price came back down, it did not, it's just gone higher from there. Right? So that's an important level. Also, and the ES, this is just a level here that I, just felt right about, so you can see these 60-minute levels and how important they are. ES was a tick chart, a thing I found on the tick chart, but the reason I like this one is that we had what I call a price pocket right here that I felt like needed to be filled in. And halfway, a lot of times this will happen where it'll fill in halfway. And that's about where my entry was. I feel like this is all a waste of information and is not going to be helpful. So there you go. So as you can see, after hours trading isn't just possible, it's also a huge part of my trading system on the whole. If you'd like to talk more about trading after hours, how it could fit into your schedule, you can book a call with me. I'll give you an hour of my time on the house and we'll see if it makes sense for you. And if you want to keep building your foundations as a futures trader, watch this video next, the best futures trading setup from beginning to advanced trading. And finally, if this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe. This channel's sole purpose is to help you become a better trader. See you next time.